So I'm going to show you how to put on decorative tape. It is approximately 0.29 millimeters in thickness, very, very thin. A mud hole color fast D thread is 0.24, so it wraps up over the edges of these really nicely. It makes nice trim bands, easy to do without having a lump or having to go back over it once or twice with thread. It's easy enough to apply. It has a waterproof backing on the back. It sticks very, very well. I like to start the seam just off of the bottom of the rod, so I'm going to turn this up here to where I'm going to start, and I'm going to go ahead and trim this to the length that I want to have this underneath my piece here. I'm going to trim it right here. Some of these patterns have very quick designs on them, or busy designs, and it makes them very easy to not see the seam on them. This particular one is a little more, shows a smaller seam a little bit, but it's not that noticeable. So I've got it peeled off. Now there's a backing on here. I'm going to pull the backing off. It is similar to a rod skin. I try not to get I do wash my hands before I start this so that I don't have any contaminants on my fingers. I've got this started. I'm going to take and start this just off to the back side of this, and I'm just going to do a touch down on here and just run my finger down it, trying to keep it on a straight line when you start. And that way, as you go around, you don't have to worry too much about it. You can use a burnishing tool to do this. I found that using my finger actually works rather well, because I can start in the center and I push off to one end, and then I go the other side. I always seem to start in the center and push away from me, and I'm just pushing down on this as I go. And I'm going to do this until I go all the way around and overlap, where most of the times you have to measure these skins and stuff out and the abalone out, and if you make a mistake, you're kind of messed up. This is pretty forgiving. If I get an air bubble or something underneath here, I can actually lift this back up carefully and put it back down again, and it seems to work out very well. It's doing pretty good so far. No air bubbles underneath it. It's laying down really well. Getting up here to where I'm getting close to overlapping. Look at the back side. I'm going to look at the back side to see where my overlap is. I want to go just about a 1/16 past, making sure I don't have any air bubbles underneath. Look at it once really close, because I could pull it back up and relay it. It looks like it's doing pretty good. So I got my seam here. I'm going to fold this tape back, kind of peel it back up a little bit and get it straight again. Again, I'm doing this off to the side of the center, so it doesn't get your eye so much when you rotate it around and look at it. I'm just going to take my razor blade now and lay it flush against the rod blank, and this is with a fresh razor blade. I'm just going to run right down the tape, cutting it off. I'm going to save this piece here because I could actually use them underneath my eyes with my guides. Come back here to the seam. My seam is right there. You can kind of see where it's up a little bit. Just going to take and just push that down. Seam is almost invisible. Works out very well. Do a cross wrap or something over top of it. Marbling. If you have overlaps on the ends and you want to get those ends to where they're perfectly round, this one actually did a very good job of keeping it straight. What I would do is you could take your razor blade and lightly score it around, and just come back and use a little pick and pick that up and peel that little piece off to get it back to a straight edge for your threads to walk up. If you're doing a thread, you probably would do 2 wraps. You do one down here on the bottom side and then one on top of it that would go right up over it. But with D, it'll walk right up that without an issue at all. And that's how quick and easy it is to put on one of these decorative wraps. And again, the seam is pretty much invisible.